What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the certifiably suave Dr. Disaster, and as the numbers for the first few weeks of the Acolyte keep pouring in, we are getting a clearer picture as to the total failure of the show and the breakdown of this once beloved franchise.
Why would you think that? Why would you even think that?
We think that because it's true. Disney Star Wars fans, the few of them that still remain, try to paint this rosy little picture of Disney Star Wars, but the truth is that the whole thing is unraveling along with their narrative. These numbers here just dropped from the fairly new streaming tracking service called Luminate, and the numbers are abysmal for the Acolyte, simply abysmal. These numbers tell us quite definitively, Star Wars fans are truly and completely checked out of this franchise.
Look at me!
No, I don't think I will.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, don't forget to follow me over on Twitter, where my handle is Dr. Disaster1. But anyhow, let's look at this chart from Luminate, which tracks streaming shows by the number of minutes watched, very similar to the way that Nielsen works. And if you take a gander at this chart, you will see that they are comparing the first 12 weeks of the recent Star Wars live-action shows. They've got Mandalorian Season 3 at the top of the chart with the most views at damn near 6.5 billion minutes watched in its first 12 weeks. The Book of Boba was right behind at a little over 6 billion. It's a bit surprising that Obi-Wan falls lower on the list than Boba Fett with only a bit over 5 billion minutes, but it makes sense. There was a lot of hype surrounding Obi-Wan at first, but it fell off a cliff after people watched the first few episodes and saw the absolutely terrible quality. But after that, you have Andor and Ahsoka at a little over 4 billion minutes watched, and then here's poor little Acolyte sitting at around 1.4 billion minutes through its first 5.5 weeks.
Poor little bugger.
Right now, according to this chart, the Acolyte is averaging about 255 million minutes watched per week. Now, one would expect that a show would fall off after the new episodes stop releasing, so it's very likely that the average will taper off after the finale, which comes out tonight. But even if we assume that the average holds up throughout the entire 12-week period, the Acolyte is staring down the barrel of just a little over 3 billion minutes watched, which is a full 1 billion minutes fewer than Ahsoka and Andor, the previous benchmarks for Disney Star Wars futility.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Lots of these Disney Star Wars shills are starting to have little panic attacks over what is happening to the audience. This article here can be found on StarWarsNewsNet.com, which is a site that loves to kiss Disney's corporate ass. But even they are starting to realize the truth, that the wheels are falling off of this thing. Let's read a little bit. It says, the disappointing reception to the Acolyte and the overall state of Star Wars. By now, I probably don't need to tell you that the reception for the Acolyte has been quite disappointing. But without additional context, that statement might be seen as referencing the mixed fan reception and the divisiveness seen on social media over it. Yeah, these guys really do not want to admit that the wokeness that Disney openly embraces is causing the fan base to absolutely hemorrhage fans. They want to pretend that all is well in the galaxy far, far away. The writer then tells us how he predicted earlier this year that the Acolyte would be a massive success because he's a moron, and he whines about how people have been dunking on the Acolyte for its apparent lack of continuity. And then, finally, he gets to the damn point and cites the Nielsen streaming numbers, admitting that the show is not being watched by anywhere near as many people as Star Wars shows once were. He talks about the retcon of this Ki Adi Mundi line from The Phantom Menace.
Impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
And then he says, whether that is the reason the Acolyte failed to entice the average viewer, or it was an overall disinterest in the Star Wars franchise, I don't know. Both are probably correlated, and the fact that the franchise has such a divided fan base is not helping lure younger people in. Andor was a critical hit, but it appealed to Gen Z's dads, not to them. Well, it's nice to see these jackasses finally admit this, isn't it? That modern audience that they're chasing all the time, the young kids who are supposedly going to just love everything that Disney does, yeah, that ship is sailing. The thing is, Star Wars is not special any longer. What made it special was the original films that were so beautifully crafted, but fewer and fewer parents are sharing those films with their kids because, as I said, Star Wars isn't all that special anymore. You've turned the parents away, so why would the parents show this thing to their kids? But the writer of the article then says, this lack of interest is something that is affecting everyone related to Star Wars. We, ourselves, are experiencing all-time low readership numbers on our website. Lack of interest is part of the reason, but there's also a massive emptiness of news to be covering. The Mandalorian and Grogu is about to start filming, but no other project is on the horizon. The D23 schedule announced so far doesn't include any big Lucasfilm panels, which hints at no major announcements until Star Wars Celebration next year. If there ever was a time for Lucasfilm to change course in light of a recent release, it's now. Skeleton Crew might be the solo of this year, a project that was always going to fail to garner widespread interest, and one that will feel a spillover effect from a just-released divisive project. Andor Season 2 is probably going to perform just as well, if not better, than Season 1, especially now that word of mouth has been spreading for 2 years, yet that isn't really reflective of the rest of the franchise. If there ever was a time for Star Wars TV to have the same hiatus the film division started in the late 2010s, it's now. And I say that as someone who co-runs a website that profits from Star Wars coverage. And I've been saying that for a while now. Disney is going to have to rethink their strategy when it comes to TV shows. I fully expect them to go on some sort of hiatus with Disney Plus shows the same way they did with Star Wars films. The films are coming back starting in 2026, and when those fail miserably, well, I don't know what they're going to pivot to. Hopefully, they'll bring in new leadership or something, but who knows? I have absolutely zero faith in Disney to figure any of this out. They will perpetually blame the fans for not liking their shoddy work. But I'm going to leave it there. What do you think about this? Will Star Wars shows be on a long hiatus, or will they keep on keeping on? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.